The Colts signing Phillip Rivers to the practice squad. Now, he's a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame this year. Now, I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I'm also wondering about this. Once he gets on the roster, he doesn't have to play in a game. Once he's officially on the roster, then they start the clock again. He won't be eligible until 2031. Isn't there another quarterback somewhere in the world who might be a little better than Phillip Rivers? Now, I understand that he understands the offense. He's in contact with Shane Steichen, the head coach, on a weekly basis. I understand all of that. Are you trying to tell me that there's not another quarterback who might be just a better option and a little younger than Phillip Rivers? Just a thought.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekdays 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. It's Jason Smith.
Oh, you're that bloke on the radio.
It's Mike Harmon.
Ta-da! I'm kind of a big deal.
And they talk sports.
The one person that this playoff is not fun for is my wife.
Amongst other things.
I had an incredibly long dream about Jerry Jones last night.
Really?
Did I mention they're best friends?
You're hateful, and I'm positive.
It's the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Bang.
Weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. Yeah! FS1.
Call your friends and ask how they doing.
To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details.
Boom. Trust your eyes.
FS1.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are Fox Sports. And here's what you need to know.
It's breaking news in college football as Sharon Moore has been fired as the head football coach at the University of Michigan. Athletic Director Ward Manuel released a statement saying that Moore was dismissed after 2 seasons with cause, as they have credible evidence that Moore had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. The Wolverines face Texas in the Citrus Bowl coming up on New Year's Eve. Assistant Biff Poggi will take over as the interim head coach. He served in the interim role as Moore served a 2-game suspension earlier this season. Baltimore Orioles and former Mets slugger Pete Alonso have agreed on a 5-year deal worth $155 million. Phillip Rivers officially signed with the Colts. Colts rookie quarterback Riley Leonard was a full participant in practice today. No word if Rivers will play Sunday against Seattle in Week 15. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels out against the Giants. Geno Smith of the Raiders not likely to face the Eagles, as Kenny Pickett would be in line to start that contest. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. We're glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show is back and ready. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, where it is always a great day in South Dakota. I know, windy, cold, snowy. Be careful out there. Hope you're having a solid Wednesday. We've got a busy show tonight. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Thanks for making this show possible across the state. We are live on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show streaming on X as well. Stream us there at Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch us live at Nate Brown Show. We welcome you in. Also on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. Follow us there. You can subscribe to the channel, and you've got us, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. And one more place, Midwest Sports Plus. Appreciate our partnership with the new high school sports streaming app in South Dakota. Midwest Sports Plus carries the best in high school sports, and they carry this show live every afternoon. Midwest Sports Plus. Welcome you in wherever you're listening tonight. Busy show, as we said, and we got a lot to cover. We're going to go to Keith Murphy from Iowa. He's been talking Jimmy Rogers, Iowa State, more. So Keith Murphy, one of the best sports guys in Iowa. He's on Sound Off 13 out of Des Moines. Keith Murphy is coming up tonight live from Des Moines. We'll talk Iowa State, Jimmy Rogers, and more. We'll go to Mike Hendrickson tonight, one of the all-timers. Mike Hendrickson, longtime South Dakota sports broadcaster, a sports broadcaster of the year. We know Mike, he's in tonight talking South Dakota sports. Mike Hendrickson on tap. Frank Schwab's also on the way, national NFL writer for Yahoo Sports. He's in with some big headlines. Frank Schwab coming up, yahoosports.com. We'll make some NFL picks tonight with BetMGM Sportsbook, Tin Lizzie Deadwood, and also question of the day, 5 questions from Chris. I mean, we are packed tonight on a Wednesday. If you want in, we get you on the best we can. Appreciate you joining the show and conversation. 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, 605-720-1067. So you got the number, I hope. Powered by the Pizza Ranch at East 10th Street in Sioux Falls. The Pizza Ranch East, great. Brandon location's outstanding. Stop by tonight. 2 locations in Rapid City, home of everyone's favorite buffet. Remember, the Pizza Ranch, when it comes to the family, the team, the crew, the Pizza Ranch, locally owned and operated, the best buffet in town. If you want to get on the text line, we can get it there as well, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson listener text line, 605-720-1067. Okay? Nate Brown Show live on a Wednesday on Fox Sports Radio. The biggest headline in sports just happened about an hour ago. Michigan fires Sharon Moore, and the detail is he was fired for cause, terminated, effective immediately. The University of Michigan did an investigation. They found credible evidence that Coach Sharon Moore was engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. So this is the wide range of reporting here, and I'm sure this is going to be a battle when it comes to the contract and all that stuff. But this is a huge headline today. So Michigan football, they just gave Sharon Moore a big contract, right? Jim Harbaugh leaves for the NFL. Sharon Moore's named the coach. They just gave him a 5-year deal. He gets it's not like a huge salary in relevance to other places, but $6 million a year and more with bonuses. So he's over $6 million a year. So we're talking about Sharon Moore getting fired today with a huge mistake. I mean, an absolutely life-altering mistake. Whatever happened there, I'm sure more details will be coming out. Who knows? But Michigan fires Sharon Moore. Credible evidence, the university says, was found of an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. So Sharon Moore is out as head coach at Michigan. There's not much more you can say. But there is one thing that people are already bringing up, and this is not just in South Dakota on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. This is now, I just saw this the last 45 minutes. Guess which name is being floated out there quickly? He has ties to South Dakota. You may know him. The first name that's being thrown out, and I mean a bunch. I just saw a couple of national college football reporters throw his picture up there and say, who's the next coach at Michigan? So you know how the media cycle works, right? Sharon Moore's out, and then we go to, well, that's an interesting story. That's wild. Hey, who's going to be next? And they're saying, well, they're throwing it out that it could be Kalen DeBoer. So Kalen DeBoer had to fight off these rumors just last week that Penn State was trying to get Kalen DeBoer. What do you believe there? I mean, we're just here in South Dakota. You guys know Kalen DeBoer. We've rooted for him. I root for him big time, and I'm not an Alabama fan at all. But when you got a South Dakota guy that does right and does it well, you got to root for Kalen DeBoer. So I always pull for him at Alabama. And now I look at it and I say, what is he going to, is he just going to stick this out? Would you just stay at Alabama? You just stay there. It's one of the best jobs in college football. And people keep throwing out Kalen DeBoer. And I can only think of, they just think like, well, he's been under the hot seat and, you know, it's so much pressure and all this and that. Do you think, here's my read on it. Do you think Kalen DeBoer is that worried about Alabama and the fan base and getting fired and the whole thing that he would go from there to Michigan? And people just bring up it's the Midwest thing. He's going to fit a little better recruiting wise and upper Midwest and get closer up here. Michigan's just a better fit. That's what people just like throwing out. But I got to ask you, Sharon Moore, and everybody's contract's different. Sharon Moore at Michigan was just over $6 million a year. You know what Kalen DeBoer's getting? $11 million a year. So he's almost making double the amount, at least as of now. And maybe Sharon Moore had a different deal, and he wasn't up there in the Jim Harbaugh ranks with that salary. So Michigan can afford it, is what you're saying. But that's what's being thrown around right now. And I don't know how to take it other than it seems odd to me. And I know, Michigan, better spot for Kalen DeBoer. He's going to do better there. Maybe less pressure. It's just a better fit than the SEC. I think that's lazy stuff. He's making a massive amount of money, and people would say the Alabama job is the best job in college football. You could say that. I mean, you could say it. They have the resources. They have the brand. They have the program, the winning, the tradition. Oh, it's tough to fill in for Nick Saban. Well, Kalen's doing fine. He's in the college football playoff. Do you think he would leave that to go to Michigan? I don't know. I've had Kalen on the show numerous times. People know him around South Dakota and the Sioux Falls market big time, and they know Kalen's background and the whole thing. I don't know. So if you got a connection, you can be an insider into the Nate Brown Show. I don't see it. The national college guys throw it out quick. Well, Penn State was looking at it, and Kalen said, no, that's not even a factor. And now people want to do this again with Michigan. So they say, well, the Big Ten's just a better spot. I'm not buying that one. So let me throw out the question of the day on the Nate Brown Show with South Dakota's own Kalen DeBoer, who's getting set for the college football playoff. His picture, his name, I just saw it on 3 stories. One of the first candidates that people say should be looked at is Kalen DeBoer. And I don't get it in the normal world, you wouldn't say you'd leave Alabama and go to Michigan, right? You wouldn't leave Alabama and go to Michigan. Now, if you want to throw out somebody like Clark Lee, what about Clark Lee? He just signed a big deal at Vandy. Clark Lee, former South Dakota State assistant with Coach Stig. Reportedly, Penn State was looking at him, and he decided to stick with Vandy. He's a Vandy guy. I don't really see the Clark Lee factor here, but maybe Michigan. Maybe is this ink dry, as people say? All these extensions, all these contracts, are the coaches in or not? Let me ask you this question of the day tonight: is it even possible to think that Michigan could hire Kalen DeBoer? That's my question of the day for your drive home tonight, as Michigan fires Sharon Moore. Didn't work out. 1 year essentially as head coach, and things go south. Sharon Moore fired for cause. They're going to be in a legal battle on this one. That's how these always go. Reportedly, an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. It's just absolutely nuts. Just nuts. I can't believe it that this stuff reportedly keeps happening. Let's see. Is it possible to even think that Michigan could hire Kalen DeBoer? That's my question of the day on the Nate Brown Show here in South Dakota. We have the Kalen DeBoer ties. I don't see leaving Alabama and going to Michigan. I don't see that. But I think people want to think about it because they just never thought Kalen was the fit there. Everybody's been trying to kill Kalen DeBoer nationally at Michigan or at Alabama for a while. That's the way I feel. Every little thing that happens at Alabama, it's Kalen DeBoer's fault. They're just not the Nick Saban Alabama. They're just not. The whole college football landscape is different. I mean, Nick Saban got out of there at the right time, and he got out of there for a reason, I would tell you. So Kalen DeBoer's been having a tough road at Alabama just from the national media side and the scrutiny and the coverage of it. He's had a nice year. He's had a really nice year. Well, then he got beat up by Georgia. Maybe he should go to Michigan. I don't see it. So do you see it? Is it even possible for you to think Michigan could hire Kalen DeBoer? What do you say? 605-720-1067. Let's see the poll results early on. Wow, it's kind of close. Kind of close on the Nate Brown Show question of the day. 53% of you say, no way. No way Kalen DeBoer goes from Alabama to Michigan. 47% of you say it's very possible. Very possible. Listener text, is Jimmy Rogers now going to stay at Iowa State? I I knew something like that would be coming. Nice play. Well played. Well, Jimmy's taking a little heat. Jimmy Rogers is taking a little heat. What do you say? Lister reaction here. Why would Michigan hire Kalen DeBoer? Well, I'm not telling you it would be a bad hire. I think it'd be fine. I don't see it. That's what I tell you tonight. I don't see leaving Alabama, the program, the money, and maybe Michigan will say, well, we'll get you up to that money. They probably could. Sherrone Moore was not making Kalen DeBoer money as of now. Maybe Michigan would get there. I just don't see leaving the program like Alabama to go to Michigan just because it's quote-unquote, it's just a better fit. Seems like everybody is telling you Kalen doesn't fit at Alabama. I'm not sure anybody else is saying that. The media's telling you that. The SEC country's telling you that. I think Kalen DeBoer and the program's been doing fine. You say, well, they're not winning national titles. Neither was Nick Saban at the end. So let's see. If you want to vote on that, send it in. Would you see Michigan hiring Kalen DeBoer? 53% of you voting no way. 47% of you say it's very possible. And the question of the day, two other names I saw thrown out here just for what it's worth. Jesse Minter, that used to be the D coordinator at Michigan with Harbaugh. He left and went to the NFL. He's the D coordinator for the Chargers. Would you leave the D coordinator job as the Chargers and go to Michigan? Maybe. A lot more on your plate as the head man, right? But D coordinator job at the Chargers, pretty good. A little less stress. Quite different. But if you want to be a head coach and run the show, maybe. Jesse Minter's thrown out. And then I saw this one, Joe Brady. I don't know if this is just people throwing stuff up against the wall. Joe Brady's the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Had his experience to get started at LSU, if you know this name. So Joe Brady, former LSU offensive coordinator, went to the Bills. He's the OC for Josh Allen and the guys. That's another name being thrown out. So my take on this is Kalen DeBoer probably not going to be a candidate for Michigan. I don't see it, and maybe I'll be wrong. We shall see. Wouldn't be the first time. I don't see that one just from across the board. Now, let me get into something here. Speaking of coaching. So I was joking about Jimmy Rogers getting people upset. And I addressed a little bit of the Jimmy Rogers deal yesterday on the show where Jimmy left South Dakota State. We all know that story. Took players with him to Washington State. Only made it 11 months. And now, after saying, hey, we're going to build it into a championship program at Washington State, he takes the job at Iowa State. And here's what I see from people today. People are saying that staff members on Jimmy Rogers' staff, people are throwing this around, that they're already talking to players to try and come to Iowa State, and some of the players may be on the South Dakota State team right now. That's what's being thrown around by the, I'd call them the jackrabbit internet guys. Maybe these guys are right, but they've done their internet sleuth stuff, and the jackrabbit internet guys say Jimmy Rogers' staff is already talking to players, and some of them are on the South Dakota State team. And so then people are getting upset by this all over again. People are saying, oh, no, Jimmy, he did this before. Why is he doing this again? This is wrong. And I just have to lay this out here, guys. I said this yesterday about the Jimmy Rogers deal. I don't love that he bounced to Washington State and then bounces to Iowa State quickly. I don't have to love that. But I do take the emotion out of it. I'm not a Jackrabbit alum. I haven't been a Jackrabbit super fan. I love following the Jacks and USD and FCS. I've followed it for 20 years. But I'm not emotional with it where I'm just looking and saying Jimmy Rogers and his staff can't talk to any other players at South Dakota State ever. That's not reasonable. That is emotional, and I get it. You guys are fans. You guys are passionate fans. You don't want players leaving, and this is what's being thrown around. Well, he can't be doing this. It's the transfer portal's not even open. Here's what I want to say. The coaches are doing this. The staffs are doing this. The portal doesn't open until January 2nd. You think all of the coaches are just sitting around? What do you think the coaches are doing right now? They're trying to put together recruits all the time. What's the saying? If you're not recruiting, you're dying. If you're not always recruiting, you're dying. So I take the emotion out of it. People are saying Jimmy Rogers is trying to steal players again. I can't believe he's talking. I get why you're mad. You don't have to be happy about it. But this is big boy football. This isn't, Jimmy's job now is to get the best players to Iowa State. End of story. That's his job. And he's not going to care if it's South Dakota State. Whoever it is, he's not going to care if he's trying to get Washington State players. You know what Penn State's trying to do where Campbell went? I'm sure Campbell's trying to get some players from Iowa State. I hate to break it to you. So Jimmy Rogers trying to retain some players at Iowa State. He's probably trying to get other players to join him, and it could be some South Dakota State guys. Who knows? But you can't be so, I can't believe he's doing that. Well, it's just naive. You just have to be a realist saying, this is how it is now. You don't have to love it. You can hate it. I don't love it. But it is how it is, and I can't say, well, Jimmy Rogers, all the players at South Dakota State are off limits. You are a jackrabbit. I can't believe you would do this. Well, he's an Iowa State Cyclone. He's an Iowa State Cyclone, not a jackrabbit now. That's how it's working. Let's see. By the way, do you think all coaches are recruiting all of the time? Meaning, you think they wait until January 2nd? Hey, we can't talk to Jimmy because the transfer portal's not open yet. So I want to know, do you believe all college football programs are contacting players one way or another before the transfer portal opens? Do you believe that tonight? You guys are reasonable. I know that. The answer has to be yes. All college programs are contacting players one way or another. What are they doing over the next month? You think all the coaches and the staffs are just, they got their exit interviews and then they just, relax and go to the gym and see if Kalen DeBoer's going to take the job at Michigan? Oh, I wonder. No, they're trying to put things together for the next year. Everybody's doing it, including Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State. What does Keith Murphy have to say? He's covering Iowa State and his read on Jimmy Rogers and the Cyclone program. Keith Murphy is from WHO Des Moines. Great sports guy coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Keep your cash and spend ours. Our Black Friday sale is back. Get 20% off our clean replacement windows and ensemble entry doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. You pay nothing until 2027. Plus, enjoy a Visa gift card for up to $2,000 as our gift to you. Hurry, this Black Friday event is only here till December 13th. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone and every ride.
This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
I want to go back. That's what Jimmy Rogers said. I want to go back to Iowa. I've only been in Washington State 11 months, but I want to go back. And he is back. Head coach at Iowa State. We are live on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show across the state. KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome in. Keith Murphy joins us tonight from Iowa, Des Moines. Great sports guy. Has a great show, great podcast. He's also on Sound Off 13. I've seen that. That's good stuff. He's out of Des Moines. Follow him at Murphy Keith. Covers the Hawkeyes, covers Iowa State, the whole scene in Iowa. Keith, welcome in. How are you?
Always good to talk to you, Nate.
I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. You got hoops tonight, so I wanted to get your take on Iowa State and Jimmy Rogers. What's the feeling like getting Jimmy Rogers as the head coach? What's the sentiment?
I think fans here are still going through the 5 stages of grief. You know, they mostly it's been about Matt Campbell. Most of the emotion has been about Matt Campbell. He's the greatest coach in Iowa State football history. That was a low bar, but he cleared it by quite a bit. So fans have kind of moved into the space that he might be staying here a long time, maybe not his entire career, but they didn't see this coming. You know, he had just proudly announced his new recruits and on signing day. So it just kind of caught everybody by surprise. But I think those who paid close attention when they saw the Penn State opening had moved down to Campbell after nearly 2 months of trying to find the coach for Penn State. I think most fans thought, oh, he's going to take that. Iowa State just can't compete with that. And then what became difficult for those fans was just getting it confirmed that Campbell was taking the Penn State job and then finding out within 5 minutes that Jimmy Rogers was the Iowa State coach. I mean, Iowa State actually beat Penn State to the press release. And that was just a lot for Cyclone fans to process at one time. The reaction really wasn't about Jimmy Rogers, pro or con. It was just about, I can't believe this has all happened so fast, and that the AD, Jamie Pollard, already had his coach lined up. And then the question just became, who is Jimmy Rogers? But I think he had a good press conference. I think he did well there. I don't think he's walking into a resistance from fans or anything. They're just still kind of mourning the departure of Matt Campbell.
What do you think, Keith, of Jimmy Rogers? Couple of national championships at South Dakota State when the cupboard was full. He's a great defensive guy. And he goes to Washington State. That program's just kind of, it's mid, below mid. So what do you think of Jimmy Rogers as the head coach?
Well, it seems like on the surface it's a good fit. As you know as well as I do, Nate, that we won't know for a while if this was a good hire or not. It seems like he has the potential to keep going what Matt Campbell started, but the expectations at Iowa State are higher than they've ever been, and the year at Washington State, completely rebuilding that roster. What do you have, like 60 or 70 new players there? That's good because he's going to have to do the same thing here. So looking at getting to 6-6 with what he had to do there, that's probably a pretty good season under those circumstances. And he's going to have a lot more money here. I think it was $3 or $4 million at Washington State. He'll get $13 million to spend on his players here, and Matt Campbell will get $31 million at Penn State. So that's a big part of the success of a coach right now. How much money do you get for your players?
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. Keith Murphy on tonight. He's out of Des Moines. Sound Off 13 sports reporter. Has been a great coverage guy of Iowa sports. So let me ask you about what Matt Campbell's going to do with players. Is he going to take a bunch of players to Penn State, and then Jimmy Rogers is going to have to fill this with players? Is that how it's going to go?
I would speculate that is how it will go, but maybe not to the extent that some people are thinking. There will be an exodus of Iowa State players, but not just to Penn State. I mean, the reality is Penn State is able to attract a higher level of recruit, at least going into college, than Iowa State is. Now, Matt Campbell has done a really good job in his staff of coaching players up, getting them into the NFL, being competitive in the Big 12, finding ways to beat good teams like Iowa. So he's developed players very well, but I don't know that all of them are going to suddenly find a scholarship at Penn State and NIL money at Penn State. Certainly some of the starters and better players will follow him there. We just don't know how many it will be. The first thing Campbell had to do is figure out his coaching staff, who's being invited to Penn State, who's not. And Penn State did something kind of shrewd there, too. They keep Terry Smith, the interim coach, pay him a big salary, but that's going to keep some of the Penn State players there. So I don't think Matt's going to have as many roster spots to fill as, say, Jimmy Rogers did last year at Washington State. And Rogers spent a lot of his first press conference talking about Matt Campbell and praising Matt Campbell. I think that helped him win over some of the fans, too, just acknowledging what had been done ahead of him.
I want to ask you about this world we're in, because the transfer portal doesn't open until January 2nd, yet there's like South Dakota State people that are saying, well, Jimmy Rogers, his staff, or people are already contacting a couple of players at South Dakota State. They're contacting them. So I don't know where that truth lies, but coaches and programs have to be trying to get players. How do they do this without the transfer portal opening up officially on the 2nd? Because it's going on, Keith.
Well, it certainly is, and it's allowed at Iowa State. It's not allowed at other places. If you lose your coach right now in the new rule, you have a 15-day window after 5 days. It's not a 30-day window anymore, but it's a 15-day window prior to the 2nd that Iowa State players can get into the portal and can announce where they're going. But if you haven't lost your coach, you're technically not supposed to do that. But just as we know, ADs and coaches, speculative coaches, have conversations and relationships. So much of this gets done through a third party or back channels, and I don't think any of us are surprised anymore. But AD Jamie Pollard was pretty transparent at his press conference. What would that be, Monday, when he said the biggest problem in all of this is the coaching contracts. He said the only thing that holds a coach is if the coach fails, you still have to pay the coach all the money you owe him. But if you have Matt Campbell under contract to 2032, through 2032, all the way up to 2033, like Iowa State did, but he wants to go and take a better job, he can go. And he can go right after signing day, and he can go before the bowl game.
Yeah.
Like Iowa State was going to a decent bowl game. Fans are pretty excited about that. Players, knowing that many of them are going to leave or want to leave, voted to not go in the bowl game. And then you have fans are really upset about that. They're like, hey, this isn't love of the game anymore. These players, some of them are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they should be held to play in the game, or they should return their NIL checks for the month of December. But that's not going to happen because there are no contracts, because they're technically not employees. Yeah. So it's all just a mess. And, Jamie Pollard got choked up talking about contacting Washington State because he said, ethically, I question whether I should even call Jimmy Rogers because I think he's going to take the job, but I feel bad calling after less than a year at Washington State because that's not really fair to Washington State. But then Pollard said, but I didn't create these rules, but I have to live by them. This is the guy I want to come coach the program, so I'm going to call him. But, that just stinks on so many levels, and I'm surprised that we're doing these huge numbers because you hear, as I hear, so many fans say they're just fed up with it and they're done with college athletics and this has all gotten away from us. And then we see that 19 million people watched Indiana and Ohio State and we realize we can't stop.
Yes, no, there's no doubt about that. Keith Murphy on a couple more quick ones. I'll let him run. He's on Sound Off 13, sports guy out of Des Moines, does a great job. Murph and Andy, great podcast as well. So can Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State, here's the question, be a college football playoff team, be a Big 12 representative that way? Can they get to that level?
I think it's going to be challenging. I don't know. Of course, I don't know. That's where I should stop. I don't know. But I think it's going to be difficult. And Iowa State football is kind of at a crossroads here. There's some real financial challenges coming Iowa State's way, and they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And as you know, and your listeners know, if you're not in the Big Ten or the SEC, you're not anywhere near on an equal playing field when it comes to the distribution of money. There's so much more media rights money in those schools. And I think that's part of why Matt Campbell went. It wasn't just the double the salary or the triple the NIL, although those are very appealing things. But even in the Big 12 conference where he showed that Iowa State could get to the playoff by winning a Big 12 championship, though they didn't do it. They got to the title game twice, so they were close. But now I think one thing that Matt Campbell could probably see coming is BYU and Texas Tech are throwing money at football in ways that some of the other Big 12 schools can't. And Texas Tech just proved you spend enough money on football, you can get up there and become a top 4 seed. You can be that good. And BYU is spending big money on football and basketball players. Iowa State doesn't have that kind of money. So in this really disappointing college football world that we're in, where money seems to just drive everything now, including where players go year to year, it's going to be tough to win a Big 12 championship at Iowa State.
Keith Murphy joining us tonight. Who wins, Iowa or Vandy, in this bowl game?
Oh, man, I'd have difficulty picking against Vanderbilt, having seen them play and knowing how good Diego Pavi is. But Iowa is, and it sounds like a laughable line, but they are the best 4-loss team in the country. They lost their 4 games by a total of 15 points, and they should have beaten Indiana. And that keeps looking better as time goes on. I mean, in all 4 of their losses, they had a chance to win in the final minute of the game. So I expect them to hang in there, but usually, all things being pretty equal, I pick the team with the better quarterback.
I'll tell you, Iowa was right there with Oregon, as you said, too. They could have won that one. Keith Murphy, tonight, watch him, Sound Off 13. His show is Murph and Andy. Follow him at Murphy Keith on X. A good follow to stay up to speed on the Hawkeyes, the Cyclones, and all of it. Murphy Keith on X. Keith, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you.
Nate, do you have a moment for me to ask you a question?
Sure.
I was wondering what the South Dakota State fans feel about Jimmy Rogers. Did they feel like he left too soon?
Well, it's kind of mixed, but a lot of the fans, yes. The fans are upset with Jimmy. People have called him a hypocrite. He says loyalty, he says this, and then he leaves so quickly. But I've said, Keith, I'm not emotional with it. I think it's just the business. You keep talking about the money. It's the business of college sports.
It is a crazy world. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, thank you, Nate. I appreciate it. I always enjoyed talking to you. Appreciate that insight.
Appreciate your time. Keith Murphy on tonight from Des Moines. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that in the last 2 days. It feels like South Dakota State fans are all, a lot of you guys are upset. And I understand you don't have to be happy about it. Oh, if he's talking to players at South Dakota State, he shouldn't be doing that. We just have to be realistic. You just have to be realistic. The Jimmy Rogers love fest at South Dakota State, not going on anymore. It's kind of a breakup. Kind of a bitter breakup, right? And I think eventually South Dakota State just has to realize they got Dan Jackson. The program's going to be going here. Jimmy Rogers was not going to be Stig. Stig was sticking around, building. Brookings, South Dakota State, all the way through. Jimmy Rogers wants to advance. So that's the big difference. So I asked this question: are all college football programs contacting players one way or another before the transfer portal even opens? Because I believe they are. You have to believe they are. So if you're a college coach of a D1 program, you're just sitting around? Well, of course not. They just got their high school signees, so you got the signing day done, and now you're trying to figure out, hey, who are we going to get in the portal? Hey, have somebody contact so-and-so. Yeah. Have this player. Hey, does Jimmy know that guy? Yeah. Have him contact him, see what's going on. I mean, that's it. That's the story. So, what do you say? That's my question of the day. Are all college football programs contacting players even before the transfer portal opens? 83% of you are voting with me, saying, of course they are. All of them. 17% of you, I don't think all of them are. And do you guys have fluffy pancakes for breakfast every morning, too? The perfect word. Good stuff. Frank Schwab's up next. We'll talk NFL, get back into the Jimmy Rogers stuff, and a lot more tonight. Frank Schwab, Yahoo Sports NFL writer, coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Shop the best deals of the season at Splash City and create the ultimate game night all year round. Challenge family and friends with the smooth glide of a shuffleboard puck gliding across the table, or reign champion with a Brunswick pool table. With free local delivery and setup and either 0% financing or a free gift, you only have until Christmas Eve to stop into your local Splash City to learn more about these amazing deals.
Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City. It's time to make a splash. You've earned it.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
At Highmark Credit Union, we believe banking should feel personal. That's why when you walk into our lobbies, you'll be greeted by real tellers and friendly staff, ready to help with your questions, big or small. And yes, we've got the latest technology too, for when you want quick and convenient service. The best part? You get to choose. Highmark Credit Union. Personal service backed by modern technology. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Mr. Liquor off Catron next to Walmart is celebrating their first anniversary. Stop by this week and register to win incredible prize packages to be given away every day. Each package includes a $100 Mr. Liquor gift card, plus other great prizes like grills, camping chairs, complete auto detailing certificates, golf passes, and more. No purchase necessary, need not be present to win. Plus, don't miss the free holiday samplings this Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Help them celebrate the first anniversary of Mr. Liquor off Catron next to Walmart in Rapid City.
At Dakota Discount RV, we're in it for the long haul, just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at DakotaDiscountRV.com.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their number one priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight across South Dakota. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Thanks for being here. Mike Hendrickson coming up, South Dakota Sioux Falls broadcaster, longtime sports broadcaster, Hall of Famer, right? Legend. Mike Hendrickson's coming up. We'll talk South Dakota sports. Question of the day. Do you believe it's even possible that Michigan would hire Kalen DeBoer, South Dakota's own? I do not believe that's the case. Kalen DeBoer is getting $80 million contract from Alabama. And I know Michigan's probably going to come up with some numbers here for whoever. But people want to end Kalen DeBoer's tenure in Alabama prematurely. I mean, it's been a thing. It's like a theme. Kalen DeBoer stinks. Oh, he's so bad at Alabama. It's bad, man. He's not going to Michigan. That's my question of the day, though. You tell me. 605-720-1067. Sharon Moore from Michigan fired today. Frank Schwab's on tonight. YahooSports.com, national NFL writer. A lot of headlines. We're 14 weeks in. Here we go. Frank, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Doing good, man. I want your take here on the big headline in the NFL. I can't believe it. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. He's back, and he's actually practicing today. What are the Colts doing here? Help me, please.
I think it's just a Hail Mary. They got nothing to lose. Like when you look and your only option's Riley Leonard, who's hurt, he's not even healthy. You just say, what can we do? And Shane Steichen and Rivers are close, and he apparently knows the offense really well. So you just say, maybe, who knows? Let's see. I don't think it turns out well. I mean, the history of quarterbacks, even 42 years old, is basically Tom Brady, and then this season with Aaron Rodgers, and that's it. And you get to 44, and it's just Tom Brady. So I don't see how this turns out well when you've been sitting out 5 years. You haven't taken a hit in 5 years. You haven't. I mean, his last season in the NFL wasn't even that great. Like, it was fine. He had his moments, I guess, but it wasn't phenomenal. So how are you better 5 years from now? But again, what do the Colts have to lose? Their season's kind of dead. They know it. They're throwing a Hail Mary. They're just saying, we're definitely not going to the playoffs with Riley Leonard, or injured Riley Leonard as a quarterback. They see him at practice every day. They know what he has. So let's just try something. Why not? The funny thing is, man, if you're a free agent right now, quarterback, you got to start thinking about, I need to go back to school, get a degree or something, because if I can't get a job over 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, then it's just over for us.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's nobody else better than him. Right. I mean, I thought this was goofy. Are they going to really roll him out there?
Yeah, that all the indications are that they plan to start him on Sunday. And look, if you're going to sign him, that's the crazy part, is just signing him. Once you sign him, you might as well play him. Like, what are you going to do, wait 2 weeks? Like, you got 4 weeks left in your season. It's either he can play or he can't. Nothing for a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers is going to get better or worse in the next week or two. It's either, okay, whatever, let's try it. Let's see what you got. Yeah, once they signed him, I was just kind of under the impression that, he's going to start right away, because I don't think you sign a 44-year-old quarterback with a month left in the season and then sit sit and wait to see what happens.
My goodness, Phillip Rivers, 44 years old. He's been retired 5 seasons, coming back for the Colts. That is wild. I couldn't believe it. I'm going to go into from older to young. Shedeur Sanders had a big week. They lost, but he had 364 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shouldn't the Browns want this to work because this is how you could build up that team with a cheap quarterback?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, and I think they do. I don't buy any of the conspiracy theories. Oh, they're taking him out at the goal line because it's a sabotage. Well, what are we talking about? What are we doing? Like, no, that's not it. Like, it's just dumb play calls. Every team does that. I think that they've put Shedeur Sanders in a very good position to succeed, and he has so far. You'd have to say, and I'm not saying like the jury's in, Shedeur Sanders definitely going to be their starter in 2026, and he's arrived and all this kind of stuff. But through 3 weeks, you have to say, this is going as well as the Browns could have expected. Fifth-round quarterbacks don't work out. Like, they don't. Like, look at the history. It is absolutely awful. And here's Shedeur playing well. I thought he's improved, looked good last week. Like, you're legitimately, if you're the Browns, saying, we got 4 weeks left. And they already said he's started the rest of the season, which was absolutely the right move. You got to be telling yourself, maybe all the pre-draft stuff, when people thought he was going to be a top 2 pick, maybe all that was factual, and everybody just overlooked it. We just hit the lottery in the 5th round. The Browns absolutely want to see Shedeur Sanders succeed. Why wouldn't they? Like you said, I think the biggest edge in all of sports, every single sport you can name me, the biggest edge from like a team building type of thing is having a good, solid starting quarterback on his rookie deal. Because you can spend so much money on the rest of your roster that you can really build it up fast. If the Browns, who have had a great rookie class, by the way, it's not just Shedeur. There's like 5 guys off that rookie class who look like future above-average starters or stars. If Shedeur hits, you've opened up a lane to actually maybe be even a Super Bowl contender in a few years. So, yes, the Browns don't want Shedeur Sanders to fail. They want him to succeed because that just opens up so many avenues of possibility for them.
YahooSports.com for the coverage. National NFL writer Frank Schwab is in tonight. He's on X at Yahoo Schwab. So people are really hitting Jalen Hurts now. They're giving up on Jalen Hurts. Is that accurate? Is it a Jalen Hurts problem in Philly?
You know, here's where I am with Jalen Hurts. I think that he's the exact same guy he was last year. He has always been, and Nate, we've talked enough. You know I've said this before. There's 6-7 guys walking this earth that it doesn't matter who your teammates are, who the scheme is, who the situation is, you're going to overcome it. If you're Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson when he's healthy or Matthew Stafford, there's a few guys, right, that just doesn't matter what your surroundings look like. You're going to succeed. You're that good. Jalen Hurts has never been that guy. Jalen Hurts is a guy who you can win with if you put a good team around him. Had a fantastic team around him last year. The offensive line was awesome. They had a great play caller in Kellen Moore. Saquon Barkley rushed for 2,000 yards. And when Jalen Hurts had to do his job, he did it very, very well. Won a Super Bowl MVP. You come back. Offensive line's not as good. Play calling is dreadful. Saquon Barkley goes from a 2,000-yard back to a 1,000-yard back. And Jalen Hurts is struggling because he's not in a good situation. I don't think there's anything. I don't look at it and say, oh, wow, Jalen Hurts has gotten worse as a player. He's playing worse, for sure, because he's one of those guys who needs a good situation around him, and that's all it is. I put a lot more blame on the coaching staff, the situation around him. I just don't think it's been good for Jalen Hurts, and he hasn't played well. I'm not trying to say he has. I'm just saying, like, for those people who are like, let's start Tanner McKee, like, I don't really think that solves anything. I don't think Tanner McKee is overcoming this situation either.
Yeah. I got to ask you about the Vikings deal. So they've had a disappointing year, and McCarthy's been disappointing. Then he puts up some numbers, some touchdowns against the Commanders. I don't know what you make of that, but it feels like the Vikings are entering this spot where it's going to be McCarthy, and they're going to run it back next year, right?
I assume so, but I think the last 4 games are really important for that. They go to Dallas, right? And the Commanders look just DOA on Sunday. They were terrible. So, but if McCarthy goes and plays just that well on the road against an improved Dallas defense, all right, that's a step forward. All of a sudden you can start building on that. All of a sudden you say, all right, maybe we shouldn't have made judgments after 6 games. Like that's fair. But if he goes out and he reverts to the J.J. McCarthy we saw for those first 6 games, and I don't know how you justify bringing him back as your starter in 2026. I'll continue to think that if the avenue is there for the Vikings to do this, to just do an Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones type of situation where you sign a veteran for real competition, not just, hey, we're pushing a guy, but actual honest to goodness, we're going to let these 2 guys determine who the best quarterback is, and we're going to play him, which is what happened with Colts this year. Maybe that veteran's not available for the Vikings. I don't know. It's always hard to get a good quarterback that you could actually trust to maybe start for you in free agency. But I think that's what kind of has to happen. I don't think you could just blindly go in with J.J. McCarthy and no backup plan. You need something other than him. But these last 4 games mean everything. I don't think I can answer the question right now because there's such a wide range of outcomes of what happens with JJ the rest of the year. If he has 4 more games like he did last Sunday, then you feel much, much better about him going in as the 2026 starter than you would have, 2 weeks ago even.
How about these 2 games? 2 home dogs that are good at the top of the AFC. New England's underdog only by a point to Buffalo, but I was surprised. The Broncos underdogs to the Packers at home in Denver. Are both those teams underdogs?
I was shocked. I really was, to be honest. When I saw the 2.5 next to Denver, I said, oh, I guess that makes sense. It's a little high. And then I saw plus 2.5 as here's being the underdog. I was like, wait, what? Like, the Broncos are underdogs at home and the Patriots are underdogs at home coming off a bye week? Like, we saw them beat the Bills already. And I think with the Patriots, it's a little bit of a slight on them and their soft schedule and all that, which is fair. But I think it's just this weird confidence in the Bills. The Bills are not a good football team. They have a great quarterback, but they're not a good football team. So I just think the odds makers are kind of, the way they were doing with the Chiefs for so long, they just kind of transferred that to the Bills. The Bills are the favorites to win the AFC. They're not going to win the AFC East, but yet they're the favorites to win the AFC. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's a very good team, other than Josh Allen being Superman. Like that. Well, he could carry a team for 3 games. I get that. But I think it's just irrational confidence in the Bills. And when I get the Broncos-Packers line stunned me. I can't even have an explanation for that because the Packers, they've looked good they've had 2 good wins. Beat the Lions, beat the Bears. That's great. Have we completely forgot that they almost lost to the Giants like 3 weeks ago? They almost lost to the Cardinals earlier this season. They did lose to the Panthers. They did lose to the Browns. Like, they're not a great Packers team on the whole. Like, they're playing better. They got a lot of talent, but I think they're going to be looking ahead to Chicago in Week 16. And I think it's a lot of disrespect for the Broncos. This Broncos team is good, but they just don't get that respect. But I think that the fact that we sit here and we have 2 11-2 teams, and both of them are home underdogs this week, tells you everything you need to know about this NFL season. Absolutely. It's wide open. There's no great teams, and that's exactly how you illustrate it.
It has been a hard bet on the NFL this year. Frank Schwab covers it, yahoosports.com. Follow him there. Frank, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
YahooSports.com. It's Frank Schwab tonight, national NFL writer on the Nate Brown Show across South Dakota. All right. Packers favored in Denver. That'll be interesting, huh? I'm excited about that. Patriots underdogs at home against the Bills. I'm a Josh Allen guy. I've watched the Bills a lot. Their defense is dog biscuits. The Bills' defense is bad. I mean bad. So, they got turnovers. They're not good. They are not good. Coming right back, let's get an update on the question of the day and get some of your texts out here. I got to ask you, is it even possible to think that Michigan would hire Kalen DeBoer? Do you think that's possible? It's being thrown around right now as Sharon Moore got fired today by Michigan. And now Kalen DeBoer's being thrown around. His picture's up on all the websites and all these happy internet folks. Is it even possible to think Michigan could hire Kalen DeBoer? We'll look at the question of the day results. Your take, 605-720-1067 on the text line.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
thousands of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Keep your cash and spend ours. Our Black Friday sale is back. Get 20% off our claim replacement windows and ensemble entry doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. You pay nothing until 2027. Plus, enjoy a Visa gift card for up to $2,000 as our gift to you. Hurry! This Black Friday event is only here till December 13th. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
To Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Welcome back into your Sports Your Show, the Nate Brown Show, live Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls, Fox Sports Rapid City. Thanks for being here. Mike Hendrickson's coming up. Hey, Mike's on tonight. What are we going to talk about? Mike, the legend, South Dakota sports broadcaster, longtime broadcaster out of Sioux Falls. Mike Hendrickson straight ahead. We'll talk mainly South Dakota high school sports. I have a question of the day. Would Michigan actually hire Kalen DeBoer? Or maybe I should phrase it this way. Would Kalen DeBoer leave Alabama and go to Michigan? People are throwing it around already, national media anyway, in the last hour and a half. Sharon Moore got fired at Michigan today for a little problem. You may want to check into that. But Kalen DeBoer, I believe, does not leave Alabama to go to Michigan right now. Well, let's go to the listener text and your thoughts. Would Kalen DeBoer get hired at Michigan? Do you think that's even possible? Let's go to the Twitter poll tonight. 55% of you say no way. 45% of you say it's very possible. Listener text 605-720-1067, the Barron's Wilson text line. Listener text, this is a good one here. It came in, hey, Nate, mediocre season in Alabama last year. Now they had a bad loss to Florida State to start the year. He better win a few games in the college football playoff, otherwise it'll get really bad for him at Alabama. Well, I understand, they say, well, the pressure is so bad at Alabama. Well, I'm going to say just for Kalen DeBoer, though. I mean, everybody and their mother just throws Kalen under the bus anytime any little thing happens. I mean, they expected the guy to come in and just go undefeated and then win the national championship. That's what the expectations are. So if you're trying to tell me, well, maybe he just goes to Michigan and maybe it's a little less stress. Have you seen what Michigan? I mean, it's not going to be less stress there, really. Everybody just wants to think, well, it's upper Midwest. That fits Kalen better. It's Big Ten. I think that works better for Kalen. Everybody wants to say Kalen was done at Alabama before he even got started. I've been a Kalen DeBoer fan, and I see that Alabama's doing just fine. And I don't think if he loses to Oklahoma here in the college football playoff here next week, everybody's going to go crazy. They'll go crazy for a little bit. Kalen DeBoer's not going to get fired. He made it to the college football playoff. That was a requirement after missing last year. So that was a requirement. He made it. Does he have to have another good year next year? Yes, but I think he continues to build there. So I do not see Kalen going to Michigan as some of the national media wants to throw around there. I really don't see that scenario. But let's see here. I want to make sure we get enough your answers on making sure. If I was Kalen, I would stay at Alabama. Listener text 605-720-1067. Kalen DeBoer, by the way, if it does get really bad for him in Alabama, guess what? I hate to break it to you. He's got the Brian Kelly treatment. So if it gets really bad for him at Alabama, he's got like $65 million reasons why to, I guess I'll take a little break and find another job somewhere. So it's not like Kalen's like, oh, man, if I don't go now, I'm not going to make any money, this and that. If Alabama fired him, they'd owe him a lot of money. A lot of money. So in that buyout. So I think Kalen sticks with Alabama as bad as I don't know what it is about this national media thing. Oh, Penn State. He should go to Penn State. They said that last week. Now it's Michigan. Yeah, maybe they should go. Kalen DeBoer is at Alabama. It's one of the best jobs in the country. Just cool it. Hey, let's go with 5 questions from Chris. Chris, our loyal listener, sends me 5 questions. He's got them in. I'll get answers out next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
As the official mascot of Country Hearth Breads and literally made of dough, Lofi would like to put a little more jingle in your holiday this season by giving you a chance to win some dough yourself. Visit countryhearthbreads.com/sweeps and enter today for your chance to win $500 or $1,000. Winners will each receive a check that can be used for travel, gifts, or even Lofi's personal choice, lots and lots of bread and buns for all your holiday celebrations. So get your buns over to countryhearthbreads.com/sweeps and enter today. Good luck.
We all know the drill. Packing the car, hitting the airport, traveling all over the country so our kids can play in tourneys in another state. But imagine bringing those tournaments to Rapid City. Year-round entertainment, shopping, dining. Millions in new revenue for Rapid City instead of Sioux Falls, Denver, or Omaha. A yes vote supports the sports complex. We win by showing up and voting yes on January 20th. Join the team at teamrapidcity.com. Paid for by Citizens for Responsible Growth.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding door and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey, volleyball families, get ready to serve up some fun at the Wautiki Spike-tacular Volleyball Tournament, February 13th through 15th at the Box Elder Event Center. Experience high-energy matches, glow-in-the-dark games Friday night, and exciting play all weekend long. Compete in 14U, 16U, or 18U divisions for a shot at the trophy. Stay and play with 25% off rooms at Courtyard by Marriott and water park passes included. Register now at thebox.live.
Chatting with Brian at Anytime Auto Sales. Winter is here, and as always, we're here to help with all your winter automotive needs. From mobile oil changes to around the wheel and under the hood repairs, we fix most everything, and we'll do it at an affordable price.
What about tires, batteries, and brakes?
Absolutely. With over 50 brand name tires, we have deals as good as anywhere. 10% off our Duralast Pro Power Ultra batteries, a 5-year battery with roadside assistance, and flat out the best brake deal around at just $399 per axle with new pads, rotors, labor, and a lifetime warranty for most vehicles.
Fantastic. And if people need financing, can you help there?
Yes, we can. We offer the AutoPass card, an interest-free card for 6 months on every repair over $199, which saves a lot of people who need immediate help with repairs. Get an answer in minutes from our homepage at AnytimeAnytime.com. Just click the AutoPass Apply Now button.
Take advantage of that card, people. See AnytimeAnytime.com. And, of course, at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight, Wednesday edition. It is always a great day in South Dakota. Say it with me if you can. It's a little snowy, it's a little windy, it's a little wintry. Be careful out there. Thanks for being here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show is live. Coming up, Mike Henriksen tonight. Hey, Mike's on tonight. Always appreciate the discussion. We'll have a good one with Mike Henriksen, longtime South Dakota sports broadcaster. We'll get into some high school sports with Mike Henriksen. What should South Dakota do? Where should South Dakota go when it comes to some high school football and more? The Nate Brown Show is powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union. I do have to tell you this. That is my family's banking partner. And it's not just something I throw around. I want you to know, being a member at Black Hills Federal Credit Union is the right choice. We've been there a long time now. Great rates on vehicle loans, mobile banking on my phone, just the best in technology, the best rates, convenience, a personal connection. It's BHFCU. That's where you want to get started. Become a member, experience the benefits all the way through. BHFCU.com. Okay, 18 locations across South Dakota, so big enough to serve you, regional enough here to take care of you from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls. BHFCU.com. Get started, become a member, and experience Black Hills Federal Credit Union. Hey, what do we got on a Wednesday? Before we get to Mike Henriksen, you know what we have to do on a Wednesday.
It's time for 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show.
Chris has his own intro and everything, right, Chris? We finally got with it. Longtime listener to the Nate Brown Show. Chris gives me 5 questions. We've turned it into 5 questions from Chris. Do I have enough answers tonight? Nate, we're in the final stretch of the NFL season. If you had a vote, who do you think should be Coach of the Year? Your boy, Sean Payton, with the Broncos, Ben Johnson of the Bears, or Mike Vrabel of the Patriots? Thanks for that, Chris. I appreciate it. I can't go with Sean Payton. I just can't go with Sean Payton because the Broncos were in the playoffs last year. They have advanced. They're the number 1 seed as of now in the AFC, so they are better this year, but the big turnaround I have to go with is Mike Vrabel. Ben Johnson's probably close, but I don't think the Bears are really going to be in the mix here at the end. I don't think so. So I'm not a big fan of Mike Vrabel for various reasons. Not a big fan of Mike Vrabel. It's kind of like he's the toughest guy in the room. And maybe he is. So I'll take a step back. Maybe he is. But what the Patriots have done from last year to this year, Drake May playing at this level, and it's been a really easy schedule. I do think the Patriots are good, and I think their record and that success, I didn't see it coming. I don't think anybody did. Mike Vrabel, my coach of the year. Question number 2. Depending on how the ACC championship game played out, we were going to have a mess in the college football playoff, which is what we got. So if the ACC didn't get any teams in the playoffs, that could have had an entire collapse of the system. So what do you think should happen with the college football playoff moving forward? I've said this, Chris, so I think the playoff should go to 16 teams right now. I do. So I've got 2 things on the college football landscape. The playoff should go to 16 teams, and then you wouldn't have all this arguing about Notre Dame and who should be in there and stuff. You cover 16 and you're fine. It's going to treat the regular season the same way. So I'm okay with 16 teams in the playoffs so people don't cry. And what I want to see change is I don't want to see the group of 5 teams at this level trying to get in the mix with Notre Dame and Ohio State. Tulane and James Madison are not at that level. Those teams are not at that level. I would like to see a break off of the group of 6, a playoff like an FCS style, and I'd love to see a new division of college football that includes the Dakota schools, the Colorado States, the Wyomings, that scene. We don't need to pretend that James Madison can be a college football playoff team. They are, and they're going to get bounced. So those are the 2 changes. 16 teams in the playoffs now, and change the divisions. I want to see a new division of college football. Big boys up top, whether that's 50 schools, whoever wants to play that game. Private equity, good luck. And then another division of college football with the Mountain West and FCS teams and some of these. Okay? That's where I'm at, Chris. Question number 3. Hal Steinbrenner of the Yankees said their payroll this next season will be less than last season. He cited increased expenses as the main reason. Do you think Hal Steinbrenner knows a lockout is coming, so he's trying to save? Or is it just not as passionate for the Yankees to win? My thought is this. You saw the Mets lost Pete Alonso, right? So you saw the Mets lost Pete Alonso to the Orioles. Now, people would be stunned by that. It's like, how would the Mets, they have all the money, they have the rich owner, they let him go to the Orioles? I think some people, like Hal Steinbrenner, I don't know, but the Yankees seem like they're not as interested in winning as they used to be. George Steinbrenner, I think actually wanted to win. Rich guy, tough guy that wanted to win, though. Hal Steinbrenner, the kids, I don't know. I think a lot of these owners, they just want to make sure that they make the most money. So do I have to spend a bunch of money? I'm in New York. I'll spend a bunch, but I want to make sure I keep a bunch for myself. That's how I see it, honestly. I think the passion of some of the baseball owners, including probably Hal Steinbrenner, do I really need to spend a boatload for the Yankees? We're spending enough, aren't we? That's what I think it is. They don't really want to go out of their way and spend a bunch of money to win. Question number 4. Tiger Woods and 8 other PGA committee members have been planning the future of professional golf. They've talked about eliminating a good chunk of the season to not overlap with the NFL. Changes wouldn't happen until 2027. You think it's good that golf does a little less to not overlap and cuts the season by Labor Day? I don't know about that. I think NFL's king. You can't compete with it. I get it. But I'm thinking the TV product can't be the only reason here. It's got to be, are people going to the tournaments? Are people doing this? They've already shifted around the majors. They're doing the majors earlier, and so they're knocking those down. But if the tournaments are fine, they've got sponsors, they've got purses, they've got interest, I don't think they have to be, well, we got to take them off the NFL schedule. Oh, we can't compete with the NFL. You're not anyway. So we'll see. I don't think you should cut golf too short. We'll see where that goes to the PGA. I didn't see that one, Chris. Good stuff. 5 questions from Chris. Last one. The Bears just played the Packers, and now they're going to face them again just 2 weeks later. Should divisional games between two teams be more spaced out, or are you okay with some of these games being played within a few weeks? I don't like that, actually. Have you seen this? You've seen divisional games. They play each other. They take a week. Then they play each other again. Like a week later or 2 weeks later. Why do we want to see the Packers and Bears 2 times within like 4 weeks? 3 weeks? I mean, that's stupid. Put divisional games, spread them out. One at the beginning, one at the end. You want to have these divisional games matter. I don't want 2 divisional games that close. And I've seen that, not just with the Packers and Bears. There's some other teams that have done this. This is absolutely stupid. 5 questions from Chris. There you go, Chris. It's in the books for a Wednesday. Mike Hendrickson, South Dakota sports broadcaster, coming up.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Keep your cash and spend ours. Our Black Friday sale is back. Get 20% off our clean replacement windows and ensemble entry doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. You pay nothing until 2027. Plus, enjoy a Visa gift card for up to $2,000 as our gift to you. Hurry, this Black Friday event is only here till December 13th. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the 2nd leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone, and every ride.
And breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight. Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates across the state, Fox Sports Rapid City, and live on KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Thanks for being here. Chris, we do 5 questions from Chris every week. Our loyal listener, Chris, he's been with us a long time on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Chris is a Packers fan. Don't hold it against him, okay? He's a nice guy. He's a Packers fan. His Packers face my Broncos. He just wanted to bet me. He sent in a text. He wants to bet me on the game. Hang on, Chris. We'll talk about that. We'll take it offline, okay? Take it offline. Here we go. Mike Hendrickson, South Dakota sports broadcaster. That's his title, South Dakota sports broadcaster. Does that fit, Mike?
It used to. I don't really broadcast anymore, but that's very nice. First of all, I have to apologize for not being available for you the last couple of times that you reached out.
Yeah.
Tonight, when you reached out, the answer was going to be yes, no matter what.
Okay,
so
I hope
I appreciate you still trying.
Yes, I hope I'm not interrupting dinner or anything fancy like that tonight. So you're in tonight. And by the way, you are still a South Dakota sports broadcaster. You're in calling all sports. You're filling in. I mean, I'm still listening. So let me get to something here. You may have seen this. You may have not. So Michigan just fired their head football coach, and the first name that's being thrown around by national people, and I don't quite understand it, is Kalen DeBoer.
Wow.
Kalen DeBoer is at Alabama. People are throwing around Penn State over the last couple of weeks, and I never understood. I'm like, he's at Alabama. This is a great job. And I don't know if people just think it doesn't work. It's not a good fit. Do you ever believe that Kalen DeBoer would go to Michigan from Alabama?
I do not, but I will say this. There are some Midwestern ties there, and I suppose that's what people are jumping on. But to me, you've got a lot better chance of winning the national title at Alabama than you do at Michigan. Yes, I know Jim Harbaugh. Yes, I know the history, but my heavens, that really does surprise me. I don't think it would be a good move for anyone to go from a job like Alabama to a job like Michigan.
No,
that's just first blush.
No,
anyway.
I'm with you on that. That's kind of what I said. I'm like, I don't know. People have kind of tried to end Kalen's tenure at Alabama before it's even began. I don't quite get it. Okay, so let me get to some high school stuff. I want your read on 30,000 feet stuff. We're at this altitude, and I want your take on it. So there's some high school sports discussions, and I've talked about it a lot on the show. So I'm going to start with football. We just wrapped up our football season here in November. And I keep looking at this Success Factor committee. There is a committee in South Dakota that's looking at changing how we classify teams. Should we add another element, a success factor of wins and losses? I mean, maybe we should look at the history here, not just enrollment. Would you say that this committee should keep this moving forward? Do you think South Dakota should change how we classify teams one way or another, not just use enrollment?
You know, Nate, I've heard you talk about this. I tune in every chance I get, and here's where I'm at on it. I want the committee to keep moving forward, but I'm not ready to make a decision yet, one way or the other. I want to find out what they find out. I've seen some of the things. Was it James Simbrecht down in Yankton that put together the average win margin in the 9-man titles? That have just been blowout after blowout. I want to give credit to whoever did that. But we've certainly, I mean, the playoffs this year were, what were there, 6 close games? You know, especially when you're going with the smaller classes. So from that standpoint, I want to know more. I would be very interested in seeing what this committee comes up. And the thing is, you know how committees are. Somebody's going to come up with a question. You and I can only think the way that you and I think, you individually, me individually. Somebody's going to come up with a question that I haven't even thought of. And so I'm anxious to hear that type of input and see where that takes us. At first blush, I say yes. I would be leaning towards implementing that. But at the same time, for right now, let's not make a decision. Let's let the process run. And from there, then I'll let you know whether I agree or disagree with it. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. You're always so reasonable, Mike Hendrickson. I'm going to pin you down. I'll tell you that. I'm going to tell you, Douglas, for example, hasn't won a game in like 3 years. They haven't won a football game in 3 years. And I'm just looking at these programs saying, these guys are reeling. I mean, they are reeling. They can hardly get a team out there. And they can't compete with Pierre. We know that. They can't compete with anybody in their class. And find a way to get those guys to move down. Maybe they can get 2 wins, 3 wins, start building. For some reason, people say, Mike, well, if teams move down, then they're going to take maybe a playoff spot. And we can't have that. Can we?
Yes, we absolutely can, because did you see some of the teams that made the playoffs? Listen, my grandson played on a football team that made the playoff. Well, both my grandsons did. They played on different teams, but my grandson played on a team that made the playoffs. They won 1 game the whole year, maybe 2. But anyway, they went and got 50-pointed. They drove 2 hours to go get 50-pointed. Yeah, if somebody takes a playoff spot, I got no problem with that.
Okay.
Those are not premium bids that are being handed out.
All right. Here's one I want to jump to is high school volleyball. There's a proposal that just came out from the volleyball committee last week that said Class B, they want to try and do a SODAC 32, not SODAC 16 with the regions, top 2 teams. Let's go top 4 teams, because they say a couple of these regions, East River, they're such good teams. We got to give them a shot to make it to the SODAC 32. And you say what?
I say poppycock. 10 years ago, you could have just simply said, and this is probably the reason for the Dakota 16. 10 years ago, the champion was whoever was going to win the district between Northwestern and Warner. Yeah. And it was that way for years. And I didn't hear anybody clamoring for a 32 at that point. They were clamoring for a 16, so those 2 teams didn't have to play for a district title. But no, that's ridiculous. It's the top 16. Class A is not that big. You want to move on to the 16? Great. Win your first round and, possibly your second. But no, that I don't see any reason for that. More travel, more blowouts, frankly. You're going to get an awful lot of more teams that are, mismatched against each other. So, no, I see zero reason to do that.
Mike Hendrickson on tonight, longtime South Dakota sports broadcaster here on the Nate Brown Show. He's on South Dakota Sports Talk Show.
See, Nate, that was not wishy-washy or measured.
No.
That was hard-hitting, baby.
Now you're bringing hard-hitting journalism to this. I mean, you are a journalist now. So I will say this, though. They say, well, Class B could do it because there's all these teams. So let's do Class B SODAC 32. My issue as well, can we have a consistent qualifying format for all classes, please? So Class B would do the 32. Class A would stay with the 16. I just don't think that makes sense.
No, I think it makes no sense. And again, Nate, what's the number one complaint that people, the fans seem to have? That is that you're taking up, if I remember right, weren't the regions on like Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Yeah.
So you're taking a school night and dragging 16 more teams, God knows where, across the state of South Dakota, half of whom are going to get their butts kicked. And I think that's absolutely silly. I think 16 is enough for all classes, and let it be at that.
Yeah. I got you on that. So let's go to here's what I've heard in Sioux Falls. So Sioux Falls is not going to have a state basketball tournament this year. Sioux Falls they're not going to have a state basketball tournament, and I've heard Sioux Falls they like them, but maybe they don't go after the state tournaments as much because they can make a little more revenue from some other events and some different types of things than just high school sports. What do you see in Sioux Falls? Do you think they continue to go after high school state tournaments?
Here's what I think. I think it breaks down by facility. I think that the Pentagon would continue to hustle to try to host that state AA tournament if that is what works into their overall schedule. I will tell you the management at the Premier Center has changed. That is why there is no Sioux Falls Storm football anymore, is because basically they ran the price up on them so much that they just couldn't make it viable. The new management did. That's why we're seeing other events that are not being there. The interest in basketball among fans and businesses very high. The interest in a high school basketball tournament by the management at the Premier Center apparently very low. Yeah. And I hate seeing it, but at the same time, I've already got my motel room out in Rapid City for the boys A and AA, which I would suggest other people do before those prices go up as well.
All right. That's some good advice right there. So Rapid City, going to have tournaments at the same time. That'll be interesting, and people will complain about that because one tournament's going to...
But Nate, I'm delighted with it. Again, I'm hoping that one of my grandsons makes the Class A team that he plays for has a good chance of making the state tournament. But I would be delighted when he's not playing to mosey down the street and see a couple of the AA teams that intrigue me, or some of the guys that I know the coaches, or whatever the case may be. I'm delighted with that. I love the fact that we've got two of them in the same location. I think it's going to be a basketball fan's dream.
I'm with you. I just can't wait for people. Yeah, one team's in the ice arena, somebody else is in the monument. Why didn't we get in the monument? And we're in the ice arena, so I can't wait for that. Mike Hendrickson, we have a deal in Rapid City coming up. You may be on the periphery of this, so I'll fill you in on it. There is a sports complex, an indoor youth sports complex that's on the docket, and there's some funding that's going to be there, but they would really like some infrastructure to be funded for another project, a project that's going to be going in next to the sports complex. And so everybody wants this to work in unison. Hey, if we get roads and infrastructure through a TIF, then the sports complex would have that much of a shot in the arm and wouldn't have to come up with all this extra money. What's your read on Rapid City putting in a indoor sports complex and kind of right next to a big Liberty Land complex?
I can just tell you that I have zero interest in visiting Liberty Land, and I am reminded of how much money was spent. I don't know by who or if there was public money. Isn't there just south of Rapid City, isn't there a big building that's basically a recreation of the Declaration of Independence?
Independence Hall, yes, kind of, yes.
Independence Hall. Is that still open?
No, it's like a candy shop.
Right, bingo. And so I would think that people would go, gee, perhaps we're going a bit over the top on this, because that, as I remember, failed miserably, as did wasn't there up in the hills, wasn't there a place you could drive through and see large statues of all the presidents?
Yeah, I think so.
That's closed now.
Right. What are you trying to say?
Closed after just a few years. So consequently, here's my thoughts. First, back off a bit on the Liberty Land. Full in on the indoor sports complex, because that is going to bring you money year-round, and it is not going to slow down anytime soon. Very, very few sports complexes around the country are backing off on their programs. Yeah. More and more are increasing them and expanding their facilities and growing because of the number of people they have using it. The examples for Liberty Land, not so much.
Very interesting.
I would go all in on the sports complex and make that be my moneymaker. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, very good, Mike Hendrickson. This is why I get you on to give some perspective. By the way, would you say the Sanford Sports Complex, they have a field house. The Pentagon was a part of that. That was one of the first things put up. Then these new turf fields. There's a whole sports complex out there as you come into Sioux Falls. Has that been a success?
Oh, my goodness, Nate. It's unbelievable. Because, as you mentioned, it started with the Pentagon and then the field house. And then it was all the youth football fields got moved there. And then, as you said, soccer, softball, baseball, and they are constantly full. And even for the off-season sports, kids are working out in the field house if that's what they want to do. So, yes, they are not slowing down one iota. They have done nothing but expand since the time they tossed open the doors to the Pentagon.
Yeah. Rapid City idea for the sports complex is the Sanford Field House, but even bigger, to have a turf field and basketball courts and the volleyball courts with indoor turf. So that's the model, and I think it could be big in Rapid City. Mike Hendrickson on tonight, South Dakota sports broadcaster live from Kansas. All right, man, enjoy the nice weather. You go south, I understand. Not south enough. Mike, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Hey, hope I brought some history for you. Always a pleasure, and thanks again for reaching out. Live and Local Rocks. Keep up the great work. Happy holidays, my friend.
I appreciate you. Happy holidays. Mike Hendrickson on tonight, longtime South Dakota sports broadcaster here on the Nate Brown Show. I always knew I could get Mike going a little bit. I can get him going a little bit. We got to stop riding the fence. Jump right in, and sometimes he'll do that. Coming right back on the Nate Brown Show, we're going to make some picks for the NFL weekend. Packers, Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys. Let's get going here.
Trending. This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Inheritance, romance, and investment scams continue to plague South Dakotans with high dollar amount losses. They prey on vulnerable adults and swindle consumers out of their funds. Scammers befriend the victim, making it difficult for them to see the reality of what's happening. If you have a loved one susceptible to this type of scam, sit down and talk with them about these issues before it happens to them. If you or a loved one have been scammed in this manner, please reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
Winter is almost here. It's time to say goodbye to drafty doors, poor quality windows, sky-high heating bills, and outdated design. And hello to Acclaim replacement windows and stunning ensemble entry doors from Renewal by Andersen. Now's the time to invest in your home and your family's comfort. And what better time than our Black Friday event, where you keep your cash and spend ours. Get 20% off windows and doors plus a Visa gift card for up to $2,000 as our gift to you. You won't pay a dime till 2027 with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Call now. This incredible offer is good through December 13th. Don't wait. Visit RBARapidCity.com today to book your free estimate. You don't want to miss out on windows and doors that are durable, energy efficient, and custom made for the perfect fit from Renewal by Andersen. Our Black Friday sale is here. Book today because every home should be warm and cozy.
If If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance.
So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog?
What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster!
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here. Fox Sports Radio Live, The Nate Brown Show on every afternoon drive. Hope you're on your drive home. I hope you're getting home, settling in for a Wednesday. Packed show tonight. Keith Murphy on from Iowa. Talk Iowa State, Jimmy Rogers, and more. Keith Murphy, always great from Des Moines. Frank Schwab was in tonight, national NFL writer for Yahoo Sports. Some big games this week. Frank was in. Mike Hendrickson, a little South Dakota sports talk from the longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster. Let's go to Colt Martin. He is the Tin Lizzy BetMGM Sportsbook Director, our headquarters for NFL football. You bet. They got the college football playoffs starting next week. You got NFL. It's a great time of year at BetMGM Sportsbook. Tin Lizzy, Main Street, Deadwood, Fox Sports Radio headquarters. Colt, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, Nate. Thanks for inviting me back on the show.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We always got to break down some games. These are good, man, this week. I'm going to start right away with one I was surprised by. Patriots are the number 2 seed, 11-2. They're at home. They're coming off of a bye. They're underdogs +1. How do you see Bills, Patriots?
That line surprised me, too. I got the Patriots on this one. The Bills are 28th in rush defense. Pats are 3rd. Both teams can be explosive passing, but as the temps drop, the rushing game and the defensive game are going to become more prevalent. And it's supposed to be below freezing with chances of snow at Gillette Stadium this week.
Okay, so you think the Patriots just going to out-physical a little bit, maybe run it? That Bills defense is sketchy?
Bills defense has been a little sketchy this year for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. You're going Patriots +1. A little bit of value there on the money line at Tin Lizzy. Patriots. Colt Martin on from Tin Lizzy BetMGM Sportsbook, our headquarters for NFL football. How about my Broncos? They took care of the Raiders, couldn't quite cover it because of that goofy field goal at the end. Broncos are at home. They're underdogs to the Packers +2.5.
I'm going to zig a little bit on this one. The Broncos are on a 10-game win streak and haven't lost at home this year, but I believe they're going to have a reset this week, which can be a good thing, especially heading into the playoffs. You know, you never like a loss, but occasionally a reset does kind of, help the team kind of focus again. So Jordan Love's been very efficient, spreads the ball around. Josh Jacobs is going to need to have a solid game this week for this pick to pan out. Okay,
you Packers can cover the 2.5 right now?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
All right. It's not up to 3. It's at 2.5. At least I've seen that at BetMGM Sportsbook. You're going Packers 2.5 against my Broncos. Broncos have won 10 straight. Lions, Rams, big NFC matchup. It's kind of a big number. Lions have been up and down. Rams are at home, favored by 5.5. Can they win by a touchdown?
I like the Rams, -5.5 in this one. The offense has looked very explosive, and the Lions' defense has been kind of middle of the league. The Stafford-Goff matchup, always fun to watch, so it should be a good game.
Yeah, another good one. Lions-Rams. I'm telling you, the lineup is great. All the games will be on at Tin Lizzy BetMGM Sportsbook, downtown Main Street, Deadwood. Last one is the Sunday Night Football. Vikings are playing. Vikings are at Dallas. Cowboys -6. Can they take care of Minnesota? Minnesota looked a lot better last week, finally.
Yeah, solid win for the Vikings last week against the Commanders. They are, kind of a poor team now, but I got the Cowboys in this one. The Cowboys need a win here. I expect that Dak and the boys are going to show up.
Oh, boy. All right, Vikings fans, Colt Martin, he's trying to tell you, man. He goes against my Broncos. He goes against your Vikings. He's going to go with the boys, -6. Go and see Colt and the crew. Best place to watch games. All of the TVs have all of the games. Great food and service at Patty's right next door. BetMGM Sportsbook, the king of Sportsbook, Tin Lizzie, downtown Main Street, Deadwood for the weekend. Colt, I always appreciate it, man. Have a good week.
Thanks again, Nate. Take care.
Appreciate it. Colt Martin, Tin Lizzie, BetMGM Sportsbook, director, live on the Nate Brown Show. His picks for the weekend. Go and watch the games where we watch them at Tin Lizzie, BetMGM Sportsbook, downtown Main Street, Deadwood. We're coming right back. Let's do this. Who's hot and who's not tonight? Have you seen how much high school football players can make from NIL offers now? There was just a big story in The Athletic saying, here's how much some football kids, high school kids, are getting offered before they even play in college. Who's hot and who's not coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Auto Value has once again teamed up with Toys for Tots to help deliver hope to less fortunate children this Christmas. Now through December 15th, you can drop off a new unwrapped toy or cash donation at any participating Auto Value parts store. Your toy or cash donation will not only help Santa, but also allow one more child to experience the magic of Christmas. On behalf of everyone at Auto Value and the North Pole, we thank you.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy skies tonight with a chance of rain. Lows around 38. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tomorrow. Slight chance of rain 60. Mixed precipitation possible at times. Tomorrow night lows level off around 22. 1 to 2 inches of snow Friday through Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 37 degrees.
Attention sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street, featuring 4 full courts for basketball and volleyball. E3 Sports Complex is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
Mr. Liquor off Catron next to Walmart is celebrating their first anniversary. Stop by this week and register to win incredible prize packages to be given away every day. Each package includes a $100 Mr. Liquor gift card, plus other great prizes like grills, camping chairs, complete auto detailing certificates, golf passes, and more. No purchase necessary, need not be present to win. Plus, don't miss the free holiday samplings this Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Help them celebrate the first anniversary of Mr. Liquor off Catron next to Walmart in Rapid City.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, thanks for being here. The Nate Brown Show, live Fox Sports Radio across the state. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, and you make this show possible. We appreciate it. From high school to college to the pros, we try and get good stuff covered each night. Thought-provoking sports talk live on Fox Sports Radio, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. If you missed some of the show, easy to get every show. It's on the podcast, so you can hear the high school interviews, the college, NFL, whatever you're looking for, Vikings, all that stuff. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Every show is there on our podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get your podcast, search The Nate Brown Show, and then you've got this show every day on demand. Who's hot and who's not? We do it every night at this time. Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Stop by the Pizza Ranch at East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Also in Brandon, great location, locally owned and operated. 2 locations in Rapid City, home of everyone's favorite buffet. Your Pizza Ranch. In my Who's Hot category, so this is interesting. The Athletic just came out with some numbers about NIL, what high school kids are actually getting offered. Because people like throwing out big numbers, this guy or that guy. So they did some takeaways. The Athletic put out a big story, and I've been reading through this. I'm just going to highlight. So how much do you think like a high school quarterback? It's like 5 stars. 5-star high school quarterback. That would be like Dylan Raiola, for example, when he came out. Raiola now at Nebraska for now. How much do you think a 5-star high school quarterback would get now in NIL? 5-star quarterbacks are typically receiving between $750,000 and $1 million a year. Just right off the top. That's the revenue sharing. That's not even some of the sponsorships they can get. So that's revenue sharing. When I'm saying revenue sharing, that's the $20 million a year that universities are now putting out revenue sharing. So quarterbacks are coming in getting maybe $1 million of revenue share, and then some NIL sponsorships on top of that. Power 4 QB signees, like just an every average Joe quarterback, getting between $100,000 and $300,000. That's according to this story in The Athletic. The other big position that's getting big money, elite offensive linemen, commanding $700,000 or more. This is out of high school. The quarterback and elite offensive lineman story in The Athletic this month. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category tonight, I can't believe it. The Indianapolis Colts, I mentioned it on Monday. They're looking at bringing in Phillip Rivers. He actually practiced today. I saw he's throwing it around. He's 44, and the Colts are thinking about starting him this week. I just thought he was going to come in, practice squad, maybe. The Colts are looking at starting him. They're going to see how it goes this week. If Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, might start this week, that is unbelievable. Thanks for listening to The Nate Brown Show. We're back tomorrow.